So here for Tuesday, first you would have a math worksheet where you are reviewing multiplication of integers. So that's why there is no math review for today. It is just a continuation of yesterday's practice work. So if you need a review on that, please go back to yesterday's video at the beginning, or let me know over Zoom if you need any extra help with math. So here for language, we are learning about semicolons. So semicolons are used to separate the parts of a compound sentence if they are not joined by and, but, or, nor, for, or yet, which we are very used to using so far. So just to show you, the semicolon is this symbol right here. It is like half of a colon with the dot on top and then a comma on the bottom. So here it is. So here we have an example. It says, the entrance of thy words giveth light, semicolon. It giveth understanding unto the symbol. And it has also diagrammed it here for you. So it says, when the parts of a compound sentence are joined by a semicolon, place an X on the conjunction line when diagramming the sentence. So all it's saying is if you have to do exercises where you're diagramming sentences, but there is not a conjunction, because instead there's a semicolon, then you would just write X where the conjunction would go. And I'll explain that a little bit further. So here for think A, you're going to insert the needed semicolon. So what that means is when you're reading these sentences, you're going to notice that they're not divided by these joining words, these conjunctions. So you will have to place a semicolon, and usually it's pretty obvious, especially when you read them out loud. So for example, number 1 says, pray for a good harvest, God will provide. So you can kind of hear where I paused there. This can be made into 2 sentences, or a conjunction could be put in here. But to practice our semicolon, we would just insert it. And of course, we can review this together as needed. Then for think B, you're going to punctuate the compound sentences correctly with either a semicolon or a comma. And I'm going to give you a hint here. If the sentence has a conjugation, so if it has a connecting word, then it's probably going to need a comma, or more than likely will need a comma. If it's missing a connecting word, then you're going to insert the semicolon. So if you notice that it's missing a connecting word, you're probably going to need your semicolon. So that will be the activity for numbers 1 through 8. Then here for think C, you're going to diagram just 3 sentences, just numbers 1, 3, and 5. So 1, 3, and 5, you're going to diagram just like this. And be sure that when it's time to use your connecting word, if there's a semicolon, you put an X. So remember, as usual, it's subject, verb, the conjugations, and then oftentimes you'll have a second part of a sentence. So when it's divided by a semicolon, you will do a dotted line down, and then again, your subject, your verb, your connecting words, and sometimes you'll have an article here, like the, or sometimes an adjective, which we've done several times. But the main focus is to make sure that you're understanding where the semicolon or the connecting words belong. So then here it says for write D, to write 1 page describing a country you studied in history and why you would like to visit there, and include 3 compound sentences. So you can pick any country that we've spoken about this year and then include 3 sentences that look like this. So 3 sentences that have 2 ideas, 2 subjects, and remember to separate them by a semicolon. So here for Tuesday for spelling, we're continuing on with our review, and pretty self-explanatory here on the top. You're going to use the list here to the right, which goes over some of the words that we learned from chapters 26 and 27. And you're going to find them here in the word search, and they go in all directions. And here on the bottom, you're going to use the words to the left, and you're going to either add or subtract letters. So we've done this before, but just a reminder, we have a simple one here for number 1. The word season plus AL makes the word seasonal. That's easy, but just remember when you get down to the subtraction, make sure that you go in order. So here we have, for example, the word admitted. Admitted minus the ED. So what is admitted minus the ED? Well, it is admit with 2 T's minus the ED, but then add ing. So if we were to add ing to ADMITT, we get the word admitting. And indeed, admitting is one of our words. So once you get to the subtraction portion, don't get confused. All you have to do is just subtract the letters it's asking you to before you add some new letters.